There's nothing quite like the anticipation for a new Zelda game. That feeling of a whole new world to explore. That sense of the unknown and what adventure might await within. And boy, there are a lot of unknowns when it comes to Zelda Wii U and NX. I mean, even though it was originally supposed to have come out last year, we still know next to nothing about it. And now that we're just a week away from the game's full unveiling at E3 2016, I thought it'd be fun to put together the top 10 things I personally want to see from the game. So let's get started. I want voice acting.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Okay, look, I'm not saying Link should talk. After all, Gordon Freeman hasn't uttered a word in decades. But that didn't stop the characters he encountered from doing so. And the fact that it didn't, that these characters could actually talk to him, added to the believability of the world. Okay, now I'm not saying Zelda needs voice acting per se, but I also think Zelda's starting to feel a little long in the tooth for lacking it. Isn't it just a little bit weird when you can see the character's lips moving realistically, but nothing comes out? Is everyone in Hyrule secretly a mime? Now, of course, this all hinges on it being pulled off well, because God knows it's possible to screw up voice acting.
Hey, Fox! Isn't this music getting on your nerves? I'm trying to work on my maps!
But if done right, proper voice acting will only add to the immersion of this world. Could you imagine if Kid Icarus Uprising used text instead of dialogue?
Hello again. Pit.
Hades.
Pit.
Hades.
Pit.
Hades.
Pit.
Hades.
And it could also serve more practical purposes too, like allowing for dialogue to take place during gameplay sequences without bringing the action to a halt, also you can page through some text. Come on, Nintendo, it's about time. I want a living, breathing world. No region in Zelda has felt more alive than Termina and Majora's Mask. It felt like a real place with real people with real problems. Everyone had their own schedule and could be followed around town as they went about their daily lives. And of course, there was a moon too. Yeah, the omnipresent reminder of your present failure. And the characters were aware of it too, with the townsfolk becoming increasingly distressed over the 3-day period. And I think Zelda Wii U needs to recapture that level of energy and realism, and really sell the idea that this world is a real place where Link's actions matter. And what little we've seen so far looks promising, with grass that realistically bends in the wind, and wildlife that reacts to what's happening nearby. But that alone isn't far enough. Give us a world full of people with depth, ones that react to Link's actions and the world's present situation. Let me see how these people go about their daily lives. And I want them to be aware of what's happening around them too, at least in a narrative sense. Now to be fair, Majora's Mask kept this liveliness mostly confined to Clocktown, but I would love it if Zelda Wii U and NX could expand that feeling to the entire world, instead of the empty and largely deserted Hyrule feel that we're so used to by now. And on that note, I want things to do in this world. Okay, who doesn't love the idea of a massive world to explore? Bigger is better, right? And so far, Zelda Wii U looks to be huge. But then I think back to all the other games I've played with huge worlds too, and they rarely pulled me in, because most of the time the world's big only for the sake of being big. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Twilight Princess. So instead of the world being only used as a throughway from point A to point B, I want to be rewarded for going off the beaten path and finding cool things to discover. Now, I don't mean just a typical chest or heart pieces. They're kind of old news at this point, and they're really not that exciting. Instead, I want to find things that are meaningful, like item upgrades for instance. Do you remember how cool it was stumbling across a secret cave behind the waterfall in A Link to the Past, which contained a great fairy who would upgrade all your gear? Yeah, that was awesome, and totally optional too. Or, what if, for example, you could come across roaming travelers who each had different things to offer, whether it's information or goods. Point is, there's a lot that Zelda Wii U and NX can do to encourage exploration, and I think that can extend to the dungeons too. And speaking of which, I want different dungeons. There's little else that I love more than a sense of discovery. The idea that you found something hidden, something unknown. And what if that something could be, say, a dungeon? Maybe dungeons don't always need to be in extremely obvious and impossible to miss locations, like a volcano or giant tower. Instead, what if dungeons were well hidden and hard to find, and scattered all over the world? The entrance could be as subtle as a cave or crawling through a log. And maybe you could actually discover them for yourself, instead of being told exactly where they are every time. Wait a second, why does that sound so familiar? Oh right, that's basically what the very first Legend of Zelda game did. I really do think that making your main objective something that you actually have to go discover for yourself could really bring back that sense of exploration and adventure that's been missing from some of the more recent Zelda games. Okay, now we already know Zelda Wii U's and NX's world is huge, so trying to find just a handful of dungeons might be a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack, which is why I think there could actually be more dungeons, which would make them easier to stumble across, at least at first. And to compensate, maybe not every dungeon needs to be a sprawling labyrinth that's 2 to 3 hours long. What if they were structured around shorter gameplay experiences, like 30 minutes to an hour? In fact, maybe not every dungeon needs to have puzzles at all. What if some were more combat focused instead? I'm really just spitballing here, but my point is this. I want them to do something different with the dungeons than just more of the same. And that includes the bosses. And speaking of which... I want full world boss fights. In the 30 years that Zelda's been around, we've seen some pretty epic boss fights, as well as plenty of forgettable ones too. Point is, we've seen a lot of bosses, and I think it's time for them to evolve beyond the typical boss room. And I think Zelda Wii U and NX's gigantic world offers a perfect opportunity to. How awesome would it be if bosses were no longer confined by 4 walls, but instead confined by the boundaries of the world itself? We did get what might be a hint of this in the initial trailer with a stone enemy chasing Link around, and I can only hope the game runs wild with this very idea. It would allow for the game's world to become an essential part of the gameplay. Like for instance, what if you had to lure a towering giant to a cliff that you could reach him from? Or what if the bosses were an actual threat to the local villages, and you have to try to shut them down before they devastate the world? Hell, what if you could use bosses against one another, like getting a water boss's help to take on a fire one? There's a ton of possibilities, and I've only scratched the surface, and hopefully Zelda Wii U and NX will dig a little deeper. I want Zelda to be challenging. I know, it's almost a cliche at this point, but Zelda games are too damn easy. And when something's too easy, it lessens the sense of accomplishment for tackling any particular challenge. Like say defeating the final boss and saving the world. And that's on top of screwing with other aspects of the game too, like mitigating the sense of satisfaction for finding more powerful items. After all, what good's a shield if getting hit doesn't matter? Now, I realize that difficulty is extremely subjective, and while I'm not the biggest fan of difficulty selects, it might be time for Zelda to finally add ones that can appeal to both Zelda veterans and newcomers. In fact, they've already started to do this to some degree with Hero Mode in the recent Zelda remakes, but now it's time to get it right the first time. Or maybe they can go the Resident Evil 4 route and dynamically scale the difficulty based on your performance. All I'm saying is that Nintendo's figured out how to make Mario tough but accessible. Now it's time to do the same for Zelda. I want the economy to be fixed. Okay, I don't mean to get too political here, but rupees are too damn common. Cut down a bush? Have 5 rupees. Kill an enemy? Here's 30 of them. Open a chest? Take 50. Oh wait, you can't because your wallet's full from all the other rupees. When rupees are as common as free pizza at Planet Fitness, they lose their sense of value. And because they're not rewarding to get, it breaks all kinds of things in the game. For one, it discourages exploration, or really any kind of activity that might give you rupees as a reward. Second, it removes the value of spending them, making the things you buy feel less important, and less rewarding for obtaining. All I'm saying is I want rupees to have meaning again. I want to have to think twice before I buy something in case it comes at the expense of something else. And I want the things that I buy to have value. Nintendo, just fix the economy. In Zelda, I mean. I want revamped items. Zelda has an item problem. There are usually too many of them, and they serve too little purpose. Nowadays, they mostly just act as keys to elaborate puzzles in the dungeon that you found them in, and that needs to change. So here's what I propose. Less items, but more function. So even though your inventory might be smaller, each item can be given more to do. In fact, what if you could combine different items in your inventory to expand each of their uses? Link's Awakening actually touched on this very idea with a bomb arrow, but what if Zelda Wii U and NX took it even further? So instead of a hook shot, what if you could attach a rope item to a bow and arrow to create rope bridges instead? Or maybe you could attach the same rope to a boomerang instead and use it to lasso enemies AT-AT style. The possibilities are endless, and so are the options it would open up. I mean, it would really make you think outside of the box to solve some puzzles if the solution didn't come down to strictly using a single item. I want a better opening to the game. I swear to God, if Link wakes up and immediately has to go herd goats or find cats again, I'm going to lose my cool. I've said time and time again that the introduction of a game is so important. It's your initial window into this new world and sets the mood and tone for the entire experience. It's the entire reason why Jurassic Park opens up with the escaped raptor instead of digging up the mummified mosquito. Yeah, it's ultimately irrelevant to the plot, but it sets a tone and expectation that Jurassic Park is a dangerous place, and it better contextualizes the moments that follow up until the moment that all mayhem breaks loose. And this is something that Zelda desperately needs. The game needs a hook to pull you in from the very get-go. I don't need to see what life as a farmhand is like. I want to live what comes after. If you want a great example of a game that Zelda could learn from, you need look no further than Beyond Good and Evil, which is similar to Zelda in many ways. Because that game nailed it. Because even though Jade runs an orphanage, the game didn't make me babysit these kids for 3 hours in order to get that point across. Instead, it throws you right into the action. You know what? I don't even know why I'm mentioning Beyond Good and Evil, because Zelda's done it better too. Hell, I even made a whole video dedicated to it, so go check that out after this video. I want a sense of mystery. Damn, do I love a good mystery. It's what got me hooked on that stupid show Lost, it kept me engrossed all the way through Ex Machina, and it's what pulled me into other Zelda games like Majora's Mask and Link's Awakening, which you'll actually see in the other video I just mentioned. And I think that sense of mystery is something that's been missing from the more recent Zelda games. Probably partially because Link usually has a sidekick character to explain everything every step of the way. And I don't want everything to be explained, or at least not right away. Instead, I want to see weird crap with no idea what's going on. I want to come across strange sights in the world and not be immediately told what they are. I absolutely love the Ghost Ship in Wind Waker for that very reason, because of how mysterious it really is. If Zelda Wii U and NX could just do more of that, I'll be pretty happy. I just want to discover and figure out things for myself. And there you have it, that's the top 10 things I want from Zelda Wii U and NX. But while I would love for all of these to come true, there's one more thing I didn't mention that could trump them all. I want to be surprised. And I can't wait to see the game in full next week. And of course, make sure to keep it locked on GameXplain for all the news directly from the show floor about Zelda Wii U and NX. Thanks for watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more on Zelda Wii U and NX and other things gaming too.